Hawaii Governor Josh Green announced a historic $4.037 billion settlement to resolve claims from the devastating August 8, 2023 Maui wildfires.
The settlement comes just before the one-year anniversary of the tragedy.
Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, will face sentencing for his 3-count felony conviction on November 13th, just a week after the presidential election.
Biden was found guilty in June by a Delaware jury of breaking the law when he acquired a firearm in 2018 during his struggle with drug addiction.
The judge overseeing former President Donald Trump's federal election interference case has scheduled a hearing for August 16th at 10 a.m. Trump is not required to attend.
This will be the first appearance in Judge Tanya Chutkan's courtroom in 7 months.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee. And hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend. My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America.
And?
You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
We'll see about that. I don't know. Good morning, or actually, terrible morning to everyone out there, especially the people of Ulamuk, America and everything. It's terrible August 5th, Monday, August 5th, 2024. You don't know, the whole world is on fire. No. The whole world is on fire. We have stock markets crashing, World War III starting, riots in the streets, and people leaving bears in parks. It's just a terrible place to be. But hopefully we'll work through it and kind of put a bright side on things today, right? That's what we'll do. Also, Jeff Dunham has lost one of his puppets, but it ended up doing a show in San Antonio the other night that was broadcast on Netflix. Maybe we'll talk about that. Hope you had a great weekend. My weekend was very, very strange. But you know what? It could get stranger. The week could get stranger than that today. So maybe I shouldn't start off by complaining, but I will start off by complaining. Friday night was probably the worst gig of my life. First of all, it started off with me making a bad decision to bring a backup amplifier that was just easy because it's there, not there, and it's light, and I brought it with me. But the problem is I never worked with the thing that much, and I don't know how to get a good tone out of it. And the first thing that happened when I turned it on, when we got to the club, was big loud noise that almost cleared. It was a upscale restaurant. The last thing you want to do when you're just turning on and setting up is to have a big distracting noise that everybody goes, "What's that?" That's how it started. Then we had a sub drummer, and here's the thing with the sub drummers. There's a thing we call the sophomore jinx. We put a drummer on as a sub, and the first time they play with us, they do really well, impressive. And then when the second gig we put them on, they suck. Well, this was the guy's second gig with us. And it started by he brought a homeless guy he met in AA to the gig, like his girlfriend. But this guy was like 80 years old, no teeth, ratty clothes, in an upscale restaurant. Can't sit at a table. So where does he stand? He stands right behind me the entire gig, creeping me out. So that was not good. And then the guy, for people who don't know, cowbells. Will Ferrell, cowbell, crazy, more cowbell. Cowbells can be out of tune. They're supposed to be checked at the factory that they're in tune. In tune meaning on any tone. It could be, any note, but sometimes they are in between notes, quarter tones. So you have A and you have B flat. This is in between A and B flat, and it's really offensive to the ear. Well, this guy brought one of those cowbells and was insistent on smashing it the whole gig, hard like on a rock gig. Again, upscale restaurant, loungy type of low volume thing, and he's banging on an out of tune cowbell, making the entire band sound out of tune, and insisting on doing it the whole night, no matter how much and then he wasn't paying attention. He was, he was off in his own world thinking he was doing just great, and he wasn't. He wasn't paying attention, so he missed every stop. He missed every accent, and basically just made us sound like shit. And then I couldn't get any tone out of the amp. And then there was this table of really, really attractive young ladies, 20-something, and they were all decked out to the nines. They looked beautiful, and they liked older people music. Go figure. They want to sing a Nat King Cole song, and then they asked for a brown-eyed girl, Van Morrison. It's like 60s music. And Scott, the bass player, started playing it, and for some reason, this drummer started playing like some bossa nova beat, and it was just like, and these girls are, they want to dance, they want to sing, and they're like looking like, what the fuck? This sounds sort of like Brown Eyed Girl. And the guy's not paying attention to me. I'm trying to tell him the right beat, but he's just looking off like stoned out of his mind or something. And then halfway through the song, he figured out what song we were playing and started playing the right beat. But then the next, just a little bit later, it was a guy's birthday, and he wanted to sing Mac the Knife, Bobby Darin, Mac the Knife. So I started playing it, and the guy sings the first verse. Oh, the shark, babe, has such teeth, dear. Okay, we get to the second verse, and the guy sings, oh, the shark, babe, has such teeth, dear. Then we get to the third verse, and it modulates up a half a step, and he doesn't modulate with us, and he goes, oh, this shark, babe, has it. I was like, you're going to sing the first verse, the intro verse, all 8 verses of the song? So I started singing it with him to try to give him, first of all, the key, the pitch, because the song goes up a half step every verse after that. And he's not doing it. He's staying in the same pitch. And then he doesn't know the words. And now he's trying to follow me, but he's literally following me. So I would sing the next verse. Did you hear about Louis Miller? And then he would sing, did you hear about Louis Miller? Late. It sounded like an echo, or like a bad echo, because he's still in the original key, where the key has changed 3 times now. So it was a disaster of a gig. We got through it. But for me, it was just like, man, I can't believe anybody paid us to do that. And some people actually tipped us. Like, whoa, what the okay. Saturday comes, we have a private party, and the forecast is for rain, but it's beautiful out all day. Beautiful, sunny day, hot. I'm at a weed, so I take a trip to the Papusatuk. This is a good part of the story. I go to the Papusatuk, and there's a guy out in front of my dispensary, and he's giving away samples. So I went in and I got him because it's hot as hell. It's like brutally hot out, but sunny and humid. I went and got him a cold drink. I said, "Here, stay cold." He gives me two little teeter samples. Oh, quite cool. I got two teeter samples. I'm cool now. I'm happy. I go into the place and I asked for the highest, the highest potency sativa they have, and the girl gets me a quarter ounce, and the quarter ounce is $45. Now that's a bargain right away. $45 for a quarter ounce of high quality weed. Good bargain. And she asked me, "Oh, do I want to become a member of the tribe?" You bet your moccasins I do. She didn't think that was funny. But so she asked me my number and my name, and she said, "Oh, you're already a member of the tribe." That's right, my squaw sister. What does that entail me to? She said, "You get $25 off." So now I got it's costing me $20 for a quarter ounce of really high quality weed. So I'm happy. And then she gives me another teeter. So I ended up with, for $20, I got a quarter ounce of like the best sativa they have and 3 baby teeters. I was happy. I got stoned, really stoned on the way out of there. And then I get to the gig and it's still sunny out and we're set up on a deck. It's a backyard thing. They have canopies, but not tents, but canopies around, but it's still sunny out. We set up and we have another sub drummer, and this guy's pretty good because it's his first time with us. And he's really, he's good. And so we start playing, and listen, I've never seen anything like this. Like 35 minutes into the set, it didn't start to just drizzle rain. It was no like hint of, oh, it's going to rain. Buckets of water started coming down from the sky, like not raindrops, buckets of water, like whoosh, like somebody emptied a swimming pool on top of the band. It was the wildest thing I ever saw. And the forecast, I go to my phone, it says rain ending in 10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes go by. Buckets are still coming down. Now we're soaking wet. The equipment's soaking wet. We're trying to keep it dry best as we can under this canopy. The canopy's washing away, and the canopy's becoming a holder now for water, and we're trying to push it off, and it's just like flooding out like an ocean of water. And I was more soaked than if I had just dumped in the pool. And then it didn't end. It didn't end. It didn't end. It didn't end. It just kept coming, hours and hours and hours. So we left finally, and again we played 35 minutes, and I was just shocked that anybody would pay us for that. I'm willing to take a cut, a big cut, but we got paid for the gig, but I had to drive home pretty much naked because I could not. I mean, I could not continue wearing the clothes I was wearing. It was just unbelievable. So very strange weekend. Hopefully, and then you wake up to the news that the world is on fire. World War III is starting. Stock market's crashing. The Bitcoin crypto coin markets are crashing. Which big part of my wife's world is investing in Bitcoin. So it's not a happy morning, but we'll try to make the best of it. We have a decent show for you today, I think. Nick Garrard, who has been with me before, who is from Birmingham in the Czech Republic, not Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham in the Czech Republic, and now living in a place called Olomouc. I think Olomouc. I never heard of Olomouc. Have you ever heard of Olomouc? No. So anyway, he's an author who's got a new collection of short stories just published, and we'll talk to him. And then Connor Kellicott, who is a comedian who has been doing stand-up for 30 years. 30 years. And he's about to write he's in the process of releasing a book on stand-up comedy. I believe, at least from his Facebook friends, that he knows Ron Kane. So maybe that's it. Somebody, yeah, Olomouc Shech. Yeah, Olomouc. I don't know. from Birmingham, UK. Oh, not from Birmingham, UK. Not from Birmingham, Czech, because there is a Birmingham in the Czech Republic. I looked it up. I think I thought I looked it up. Anyway, I'm being corrected. We'll meet Nick when we come back. Right now, it's time to play our sponsors piece. Listen, I'm going with my Papoosatuck friends over at Daily High Club.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Now. Look, Ron Kane is not in his station. He decides the last minute to just run away. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning, sir. Morning.
Yeah, Mind Dog TV. Go to the store, buy shit. There you go. TD is back, but he's sick. He's under the weather, so he's not probably not gonna be with us this morning. I told him yet. I didn't tell him. The Rev did a Sunday morning show, and after getting off a plane with what he's calling the flu, so you know what, he needs. I told him to rest, get some rest. It's crazy. Why? Listen, it's nobody cares anyway. If we took a day off, nobody would miss us. You think anybody would miss us? Nobody would miss us.
Maybe one person.
Yeah,
maybe.
PD. So your buddy, RFK Jr., yeah, I don't know if you know this, but he's running for president of the United States of America. He confessed to a crime on Roseanne Barr's program, to podcast thing, little digital thing that she's got going over there, to killing a bear cub, not an adult bear, a cub, and then he was planning on eating it. But he was late for a flight, so he took it to Central Park and dumped it to try to stage a bicyclist. I put him on a bicycle track to stage it like a bicyclist ran him over. It's like the brain worm is like totally eating this guy's brain completely. Now I'm wondering what the statute of limitations is on that. It's a crime to do it. You can't go killing bear cub. Any thoughts on the RFQ bear? It's the bare necessities. No thoughts on that at all.
Well, I mean, I have the video. I have the video loaded up, and
of
it's
him
in there
confessing to it.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and Roseanne Barr is in it.
I know that. I'm not sure if we can play that. I don't want to get sued by her. I don't know if we can play that. I don't
she
know.
doesn't really say
use?
anything. It's all him, and it's off his Twitter. So wouldn't that be fair use?
Go for it. If we get a copyright thing, I'll deal with it. But
all right, yeah, this should be news.
Steven ran away. No sound.
No sound again. What the fuck? All right, it sound's not working.
Sound's not working?
Oh,
that's weird.
That is weird. I have to see why. Why is it?
Mike Civello talking about yesterday says there's a summer storm we have every summer. Why is everyone surprised when we have a summer storm? Never surprised about a summer storm. That one came out of nowhere. We knew that there was a chance of rain, but usually you get drizzle first and some kind of okay, it's going to start raining now. Let's end the set. Pack your gear up, get it in the cars, whatever. Not just immediately like dump buckets of water from the sky, and that's what this was. It wasn't starting to rain. It didn't even cover. It just all of a sudden went from sunny to buckets of water coming down. It was the weirdest. It's not like your typical summer storm. Not what we experienced yesterday. Anyway, we lost Steven. GD is texting me, and we have no sound on the RFQ video. So he says he has no voice today. Well, how does that make it any different from any other day? Still hasn't found his voice.
Yeah. Black, and now she wants to be known as Black.
Now we had what is that? A sound effect? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we don't. Why that's not fun.
Yeah. No, the sound is working and the video sound's working. I played videos this morning. Sound's working. It must be downloaded without the sound or something like that.
Well, the RFK is because I pulled that from Twitter, and apparently,
Yeah. So there's no sound on that.
Yeah, must censorship. So
not that important. People get the idea. He's confessing to it now. He's doing that to get out from a New York Times story that is coming out today about it. He wanted to get in front of it. But listen, if you're gonna try and get in front of a story, Roseanne Barr is not the place to actually, try to get you cover. She's crazy as all shit anyway, and you know what? It just adds to the conspiratorial part of it. But here's the thing: that it's worse than what he puts out, because his niece is the one who originally broke the story or wrote the story up for the New York Times. She was a reporter for the New York Times, JFK's granddaughter and RFQ's niece. And she's the first one who said it seemed like it might have been hit by a bicyclist. Like, no, so she's involved. If people in his life knew about it, his drunk buddies knew about it. And people were trying to say, because he was a newlywed at the time, that his wife didn't know about it. And now this might be a deal breaker for her. No, she had to know about it. Everybody close to him knew that he was. And it's just an insane plot. I killed a bear cub. I was going to eat a bear cub. Like, nobody eats bear cubs. And then he ran out of time for a flight, so he just dumped it in the park. Like, what? And this is the guy you want to be president, right? And there's nobody in his cult is jumping off the train because of this. They're still with him. Fucking bizarre, man. Anyway, yeah, I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I do question whether there is a statute of limitations on whether you can be prosecuted for. First of all, killing a bear cub is illegal. They have to be full-grown bears if you're going to go shooting bears. And dumping it in the park is probably illegal. All that kind of stuff. So an interesting case to keep an eye on. Did you watch, or you want to save Rogan for show business?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, save it for that. Yeah, it's just I know there's a lot of talk about his special that went on. All right, I guess it's time to meet Nick. Nick Rod is, as I mentioned, from Birmingham in the UK. Now living in Olomouc. Olomouc. Have you guys ever heard of Olomouc in the Czech Republic? Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'll get a good pronunciation on that. He's going to come in the wrong window. Let's welcome him. Welcome back, Nick Rod. Welcome.
Hi, nice to see you again. Olomouc.
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 Olomouc. I got to do the hands.
Yeah, Olomouc.
Olomouc. Now, what kind of city is that? It's
about 2.5 hours from Prague. So if you imagine the old center of Prague, the fantastic old buildings, the Baroque and Olomouc is kind of a smaller version of that, but without the tourists.
Right.
So it's basically like the same size as the old town of Prague, and it is the same kind of buildings and everything. So it's very historical, very beautiful, old streets, good atmosphere. But it's only 120,000 people, so it's quite small. But yeah, it's like living in a really nice suburb or center of Prague, but with no tourists. So it's much better. It's
Well,
much better than Prague. You know?
I looked up Birmingham Czech, and I got results for it, and I was like, "Wait, is there a Birmingham everywhere?" Birmingham, you would say, but
I've
here,
never heard of Birmingham in Czech. I'm sure I would have.
I know it doesn't sound like everything is Olomouc. It's not like Birmingham does not seem to fit in with the language.
Birmingham is as people don't know, is the second biggest city in the UK after London.
I did not know that.
Everybody thinks of Liverpool or Manchester.
Manchester is what I thought. Yeah.
No. Birmingham is the second city. We're very proud to be the second city. We all say second city first.
So it's named after Birmingham, Alabama, though, right?
No, it's the other way around. Come on. Yeah, Birmingham is a very historical industrial. It was the first industrial city. It was built around the Industrial Revolution. All the main guys who were involved in the Industrial Revolution started their factories there. The first iron was smelted there, the first coal mine. So it's built on the Industrial Revolution.
I'm bringing up your book right now, but we don't have to talk about this yet because I want to talk about what we're talking about. Now, do you still consider yourself are you still a citizen of the UK, or are you a Czech Republic?
I'm still a British citizen, yeah.
Okay. Do you know what's going on there? Because somebody asked me yesterday. He said, "We're seeing all these news reports. I don't know if you're seeing what we see, but they're blowing up like there's rioting and all that kind of stuff. Like the entire country is rioting all the time, 24/7, according to the news media." And then I said, "You know what? Somebody, Squeaky Tiki, who's a friend, he said, how do you know if any of this stuff is real?" I said, "Well, ask somebody who lives there." So we asked Carl, and he said basically, when the beer and cocaine runs out, it gets calm.
It's right-wing riots, basically. It was started because in Southport, a town near Liverpool, some young man went in and stabbed about 10 people, killed 3 children in a ballet class. And there was loads of fake news went out saying it was this immigrant or an asylum seeker or a Muslim. All this fake news went out.
It was a trans-Muslim immigrant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And straight away, the EDL, the English Defence League, who are basically fascists, they mobilized, not the local people. They mobilized and attacked a mosque, and all this kind of thing happened. And that is basically what's going on. It hasn't spread everywhere. It's been in Liverpool, Middlesbrough, and basically it's the right-wing groups, and they are fascists, who are organizing. It's not local people. They're organizing. They attacked a mosque yesterday. They attacked a hotel and tried to burn it down where there are 250 asylum seekers. So it's all from the right wing, and it's not local people who are doing this. In Southport, you had people cleaning up after the riots were local people saying, "We don't want these people here. They don't represent us. It's our children who are killed, but they don't represent us. The riots don't represent us." And you had the local Muslim people helping with the cleaning up, because they were attacked as well. So it's definitely a right-wing orchestrated. The local youth may be joining it because of, the last 14 years of conservative government has made everybody, gone to the right really with Brexit and all this kind of thing. So young disaffected youth, because with the high unemployment and stuff like that, maybe joining in with it, but it is right-wing organized by the English Defence League.
Now, the perception here is that with recent elections, France and UK, that there was a left-wing shift in Europe. Would that apply to the Czech Republic or not?
We kind of have a socialist government in at the moment, but we have elections coming up soon, and I think the Trump of the Czech Republic, his name's Babiš, he will get in under the popular vote, because the left are completely disorganized here. So he will get in as a popular prime minister But he's very populist. He's very Trump kind of orientated and stuff.
Wow.
That. So
every country is getting their Trump now. Venezuela has it.
He was in power before. Yeah, he was in power before, and I've never met anyone who's voted for him, but he keeps getting voted in. But you never meet anyone who's voted for him. But it's the people who go to the ice hockey games, who go to the football games. Those are the people they vote for, who vote for him. And you know, the left are not appealing to those people with anything that's votable, you know, so there's no real alternative here and stuff like that. Right. I mean, thankfully in the UK now, we got, after 14 years of a Conservative government, we've got a Labour government. I wouldn't say it's left-wing socialist because they kicked out most of the really good people, but there's still a lot of great activists and great union leaders inside the Labour Party. So they have some power, possibility to push the Labour Party more left. You know, it would be nice to see another. One thing I'd love them to do is have a new vote on Brexit, because I actually think the vote would go the opposite way this time.
Really?
Because people just think it's like, nah, the UK is like, if you talk to my mom, who's a normal working class woman, you say, the UK is a terrible place. It's wrecked. Everybody says it's just a shithole. Don't come back, Nick. You know, I was thinking of going back. I said, don't come back. It's terrible. You know, health services disintegrating, transport's on its knees. Nobody's got jobs. Everyone's got weekly contracts. The whole place is a shithole. So the
perceptions are weird, man. Perceptions are very weird, because I have friends over there in the UK, and I talk to them, and they don't all have that. They don't all share that opinion. It's all perception, I guess.
Yeah.
And people say that about here too. And you know, I say, if things are that bad, why are we still having immigrants wanting to just come there? If it's a third world country and they're coming from third world countries, why do they want to come here?
Well, I think you do have to look at the it's definitely for the working class people of the UK. Things are hard. The economy is hard. The prices have gone up massively. You can't afford to buy an apartment, you know. But let's say the communities in South London, which are multicultural communities, you know, unemployment is really high amongst 16 to 24-year-olds. Is like 70% unemployment, you know, and the people are having a hard time. You can't get to see a doctor. You know, it takes 3 weeks. You have to ring up, you get an appointment, and it'll take you 3 weeks to get an appointment. You're sick that day, you know, someone needs to see you.
Yeah.
It's one of the things, the interesting thing about living in Czech, which used to be a Stalinist country. I don't call it communist or socialist because it wasn't. It was Stalinist country.
Right.
But some of the things that the governments, even the populists, are not able to change are what the state provides for people. So people expect here a free, really good health service, which they had under communism, and free, really good transport, school systems really good. And these are still really good, because even though they'd like to privatize the schools and privatize the trains and privatize the health service, they can't do it because it would push people too much over the edge, and they wouldn't vote for them. So like, we have a brilliant health service here, which is provided free. You go see a doctor now. I could go now. I see a doctor in 5 minutes. I get an x-ray in 10 minutes. I go and see a specialist, you know, if it's for my knee or whatever. You go and see a specialist in the same building in 10 minutes. It's great. And this is all left over from some of the socialist policies, which were, you could say, were good. I'm not saying Stalinism or communism was good, but some of the policies they had, you know, for state care of things, still work really well in Czech. And people complain because it's not as good as it used to be. But I still say to them, they're like, this is still really good. Go to the UK. You can't catch a train. You can't see a doctor. The hospitals are falling to bits, you know. And they say, yeah, but it used to be so much better under communism. And yeah, but I think if we had a Brexit vote now, I think people would vote the other way.
Funny how people will always find a way to complain, no matter what. All of us. I mean, it's a worldwide thing. Complaintism is the biggest.
I was just to change the subject. I was just listening to some MC5. You know the MC5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at them because I was looking at their influence on punk because like they were doing Looking at You 1970s. I was looking at a live concert of the MC5 and the Damned, one of the first UK punk bands, did a cover version of theirs. I was comparing the two and it was both are really good.
Yeah.
So,
You know, last night I was watching Simon Cowell talk about his career, and he was bringing up a bunch of British bands that were, I guess, he was responsible for in some way, or people who had hits and stuff. And I didn't know any of them. It's just like so weird that because there was a day when if it was big in England, or we knew about it in the States. I mean, there was no escaping that, and now. And it's not just now. I think starting in the late 80s, early 90s, there were lots of things going on that were big in the UK, but we never even found out about them, or they barely made a dent on the charts in the US.
I wouldn't have thought Simon Cowell was responsible for any decent music, to be honest. I don't think he was ever responsible for any decent bands, not that I know of. I think in the 80s, after punk, the initial punk, you had like the new wave, and then you had like goth, and the music went in different directions. You had like the Smiths come along, alternative music. The Smiths were never big in America, were they? The Smiths?
Not really that big. I mean, they were known, but like bands like Pump were not really known in the U.S. at all.
Yeah.
You know,
there were loads of good bands around. I think it was because there was loads of kind of like you had anarcho punk over here, you had goth over here, you had alternative over here. So there were loads of different little movements going on.
Ian says he tried telling me about an MC5. He didn't try. He told me about it. He didn't try. What's the try? I listened. I watched videos, and I got back to you, and I said I was really. Well, now that makes it sound like I'm too dumb to understand.
You don't like MC5?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, a few years ago, I got to see the Damned when they were in Philly.
Really?
Yeah, they were coming through it for their like 1 anniversary tour, and it was great to finally see them live, and they kicked ass live.
Yeah.
Did they play an arena or like a club? What was the venue?
This was in a club. This was I forget the name of the place. It's right in Philly. But yeah, it was right downtown, and it was a great show.
Yeah, they were on one of the great live bands of the punk. I saw them about 78. Of course, they had the first ever punk single released and the first ever punk album release. They beat the Sex Pistols. First ever punk single, New Rose by the Damned, and then their album was called Damned. And so they were the first. They beat the Pistols by a few months. So.
Now they were in the UK. They would have been an arena band, right? Not a club band.
No. Small places.
Really?
Never played arenas. None of the punk bands. The only punk band that ever kind of played arenas was the Clash, really, and that was in America.
Yeah,
they played Shea Stadium there, supporting.
I gotta write that down. Thank you for reminding me. I've been doing like music reels, and the Clash is one I have forgotten about. Thank you.
How can you forget about them? We say in the UK they're the only band that matter.
Wow.
That's what.
Yeah, I don't think
those bands. We say the Clash are the only band that matter with the Clash. So.
Okay, Ron.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think the Damned would have been good in an arena. Actually,
no,
it doesn't suit them because they play fast and they play loose, and they're just a great fucking band to watch live. And in a club, it's so great.
Yeah, they used to play like Digbeth Town Hall. It's an old town hall. So old, about 2000, with an old balcony, people diving off the balcony. You know, small place, like, and the sound was amazing. Just blew your socks off. And it was
What do you think about the Ramones album "It's Alive" that was recorded over in the UK?
Yeah, you see, I have this thing about Americans.
Please.
I never liked the Ramones. I never because I never got to hear them. You have to remember it was like 76, 77, 78. It was like we only just got snippets of like when punk started in London. We only started to hear about these bands coming from London. So, we had one DJ who we'd listen to at night, and he would play some punk songs, and we'd try and find the singles, and then you try and saw some bands, and like of Damn were playing, and the scene kind of was very, very parochial. It was very English. We never kind of got to hear the Ramones or whatever. We later then heard Blondie became big over in the UK.
That's not punk.
I know, but she was part of the new wave.
Yeah.
But that's the only band that we kind of heard of from the US.
So basically, the punk scene is kind of a precursor to the hip hop East Coast West Coast battles that we had here, except it's with an ocean in between. Because I've talked to a lot of people who from the UK who didn't get the Ramones and all that stuff, but here, like the Ramones were the shit.
I think because it just when we heard. The Clash, the Pistols, the Damned, it was all completely new to us, and we were like 14, 15-year-old kids, and this was all music made here, and they influenced us to then make our own band. So it was a very British thing.
Right.
We would listen to, there were tons, Wire, The Slits, there was hundreds of bands, and in every little town, like, you went to a club, you saw a band, and then someone said, "You want to be in a band?" Yeah, okay, you're the guitarist, you're playing next week. And it was kind of like that, we never kind of got to hear what was going on in America. We had no idea there was any scene or anything in America.
Right. Now, before we get to the book, I just want to tie this kind of back together, because that punk scene was born at a very hard time, high unemployment, high inflation, all that kind of stuff. Well, times are right for that again now in the UK, right? I mean, it was for some kind of cultural.
Well, there is you've got sort of I can't remember what you call it now. You've got black underground music in South London, for example. With I forgot their names now. I'm trying to be cool and remember their names now. And but
if you're 16, you'd know.
It's a form of rap and hip hop, but it's definitely based from South London. So I would say that is Stormzy. Stormzy is the big guy in this movement, and so it's a very multicultural. White people, black people listen to it. It's a form of dance music. But I think there are bands as well. Yeah, it's rife for. It's the right time for new bands. A lot of bands coming up. By the way, guys, I wrote a book called Punk Novelette. I think that was why I was on last time. Wasn't it? Yeah. I wrote a book called Punk Novelette, which is all about 4 people who grew up in that time and how it affected their life, changed their lives, and everything like that.
Perfect segue here. Now, the latest release is called Leaving Traces, short writings, not called short stories. I guess that's
yeah, because it's a weird piece of I had all these bits of writing, sometimes a little bit of essay, sometimes memoir, sometimes autofiction, sometimes flash fiction. So I just put all in short writings, and what all of them had a connection was they kind of leave a trace of my past. So I don't want to write an autobiography. I wrote about punk. I have my short story collections in 3 other books, and all my life is in there. Obviously, you write about what you know. But I wanted to leave a trace of my past, things that have kind of little things which have affected me, my experiences, and also of those people that I met along the way. So the first story is meeting a miner's wife. 25 years later, after the strike in 1984, 1985, the miners had a huge strike against Margaret Thatcher government, and I
you spit on your own house.
If I say her name, I have to spit, right? And it was amazing to meet her again. We met, and there was a presentation. She spoke, but we talked about her life now in the mines, in the mining areas, what it's like now, how amazingly the miners' wives are still very political. Not the miners so much, but the miners' wives are very political. And I thought these things just needed to be recorded, really. You know, it's like miners' wives' stories are important and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But,
Steven
but
kind of thing for minors, by the way. Different kind of minors, but I'm sorry about that.
Whoa, what?
What? The cover of the book.
Listen, you're the one that goes on stage and plays A minor all the time, so I don't want to hear it. Okay.
Right. I never play A minor. I'm a B minor guy. The cover is kind of dark and foreboding, and I'm wondering because I think if I did my homework correctly, you've changed the cover. There was a much more brighter technological looking cover originally, and then you changed it to this.
Yeah, because I think this kind of sums up I mean, it's a miner's. It's a mine, you know, and it kind of sums up where I'm writing about, like 60s, 70s, 80s England in a lot of it. A lot of it is the stories about when I worked in the factories when I was 16. You know, it's just called Factories, and it's I would say it's auto fiction and stuff, and just the things we used to get up to in the factories, you know, setting fire to the machines so we didn't have to work and things like that, and then going to the football from the 60s to the 70s, and ended up fighting on the terraces. So there's a lot of things in it, you know, the miners' strike, even stuff about my granddad. So I thought this kind of summed up the picture, kind of summed up the era I was kind of talking.
It's kind of a drastic change from that original, and I don't have the original cover to show here for people, but it was kind of a drastic change from almost a technological, very bright, colorful to this gray, you know, overcast looking. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think this one works better. It goes with the stories. The stories are not pessimistic; they're very optimistic. There are the stories in there about food, because food is an important part of my life, but about my granddad and how he influenced me with food. And he used to work in the they used to have milk floats. Did you used to have those in America?
Yeah.
These electric milk floats, and you deliver the milk in the morning.
Yeah.
And my granddad used to make those machines, those floats. And,
wow.
And my granddad loved to steal food. It was one thing he loved to do. If he saw a farmer's field, he thought it was fair game. And we would go and he would grab me over and we would scrump. We call it scrumping, apples or potatoes, anything, you know.
Very similar thing. We do a very similar thing here. Well, in Alabama, wherein when we would go out and we'd go through fields or through through anything like that, what do we call it? I think we called it billy picking, and we would just grab things off the side of the road on the way and just grab it and eat, whether it's, you know, oranges, apples, corn.
Scrumping, we call it, which is a great word.
I like that word better, honestly.
But my granddad also, what he used to do, he lived in a very poor part of Birmingham. He used to steal blocks of ice cream, and they had no refrigerator, and they used to use dry ice, and he put it in a wooden box of dry ice, put it on the back of his bicycle, and he would drive down the street, and all the kids are like, "Yeah, Uncle George, the ice cream man is here," and he would give free ice cream to all the kids in the street, you know. So he was awesome. Ice cream man George, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think little things like that. So I think the cover goes with that because it's about the times, you know. There are some stories set now, but actually it also goes back. One is about a casual worker, a young guy who is on 0-hour contracts, which is like many young people now. They have a contract for a day. They work for temporary companies. They have no health and safety, you know, and he's trying to work his way down to the seaside where he thinks, you know, to be near the sun will be a better life. And that was exactly the same in the 70s. I used to try, and I was a union organizer, and I used to try and organize these casual workers on the building sites because it was, you know, they were under terrible conditions and pay. And I wrote a story about a guy doing that now, kind of like a hobo. We're going from town to town, get temporary contracts and stuff like that. So that's happening now, but it also happened back in the 70s. It also happened in the 30s in the
Oh,
US. You know, you could look at the hobos back in the 30s and
The hobos, yeah, riding the rails during the Depression.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the difference between a hobo and a bum, I found out, is a hobo would work, but a bum would never work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the hobos were looking for work. They were transient workers,
Yeah.
much like what we call illegal immigrants today. Most of them are looking for work, and then most of them are migrant workers, picking fruit or whatever you have for them. And in this country, 10, 15 years ago it started, where they would line up at places like convenience stores and they would look for day workers, just looking for jobs, and people would revolt against, like, how dare they, muddy up our streets and line up at places like this. But then they would go hire them. It was the hypocrisy of it. And one guy told me, somebody I know who hated them, when he was looking at a landscaping work I did, he said, "Why don't you just go down to the store there and get yourself a Mexican?" It's like, you hate those people. You complain about them all day long, but now you want to patronize them.
But it's the same thing happened here with Brexit, because like as soon as all the cheap students from the Czech and Slovak and Poland, there was nobody to pick the fruit, right? So all the fruit just went rotten.
Right.
There's no doctors. 60% of the workers in the health service were foreigners, and half of them had to leave. That's why we haven't got enough doctors, The thing about the hobos, I wrote a story about the hobo called The Hobo Code. It's in this book. Is that they used to leave little codes, like, etched out, carved in wood.
Right.
The fence, and they had their own code. And this symbol would mean, this is a good place for an apple pie.
Yep.
Or don't talk to this guy about politics. He's a Republican, whatever. And or this guy is good for a bed, or this guy's good for $1. And they have their own signs which they use and now in England the young kids are doing the same thing. Leaving signs near the place so that other people, workers, know what they can get from the house if they knock on the door.
I'm fascinated by that stuff. It's like a lost language in a way. And there hasn't been like a really good documentary about that, and I'm not the one to produce it, but I definitely am fascinated by that whole lure of stuff. Now, you mentioned the book is not necessarily pessimistic; it's optimistic. Are you an optimist? I mean, we talk about all this ugliness that's going on, and in the news today, if you look at the news feeds today, you would swear we're in the end days. But it sounds like you're an optimist still.
I'm an optimist. Yeah, I think there's always struggles going on. The people fighting back and things like that, and against things that are wrong with their lives or the systems, and I think it always will. There was a really great book written by a journalist, used to be for the BBC, but called Paul Mason, and he wrote a story. His book is looking back at old struggles, like the Lyon textile workers and the Manchester workers, and all these things in the history of working class people. And then he looks at exactly what is happening in Pakistan or Brazil and Argentina, and say the exact same things are happening. And these people are now can look at the internet and say, okay, this is what happened in 1865 in Lyon. This is happening to us here with the trade unions and stuff like that. And so people can learn. So I'm always an optimist. I think we can always fight back. I mean, I don't like the new Labour leader. I think he's rubbish, but I'm optimistic because I know inside the Labour Party there are great activists, community workers and community activists and trade union leaders who can hopefully push them more left. So I'm always optimistic. All my stories are. I wrote a story before this book, called Struggle and Strife, and it's all 15 stories, about personal, political struggles of today, yesterday, and in the future. And it was always like, the one is about a Holocaust survivor, and I tried to find And I met this person. It's my wife's auntie who's since died, sadly. But it's like she was such an optimistic woman, and she survived the Holocaust and everything like that. But she was so optimistic, and we found humor in her story. You know that. And I tried to write that in all of my stories. The other book, Struggle and Strife, is that yeah, look, things are happening. You know, in cooperatives in other countries, trade unions being formed in Pakistan. Positive things are happening. Even in London, the trade union guys are going in to the city of London trying to organise the cleaning. There's 100,000 people go and clean the city of London every night, and they're all on 0-hour contracts. And the trade unions are trying to get them organised into a union so they have better wages, better conditions, a better life, you know. So I'm always optimistic, you know.
Well, is that something you will have to work at, or do you, it just comes naturally to you? Because I'm always pessimistic, and I don't have to work at it. I wake up pessimistic.
No, I don't. I'm always optimistic. I always look on the you know, I look at what's going on today, and I just go, yeah, it's UK, it's the right wing it's the fascists in the UK fighting back. It's not the communities who are burning the Muslims or and stuff like that. The communities are quite united. I know these communities because I'm from a multicultural community. My friend is a council worker in Peckham. Is one of the big multicultural areas, South London, and everything is fine there. People live happily together. There's no problem. It's just a few fascists stirring up some shit and trying to get young people involved in it. You know, we just have to beat them on the streets. You know, like the old days.
So if Ron reads your collection of short writings here, he's going to be smiling instead of frowning the way he's been doing all this morning, right?
I hope so. Yeah, maybe if you read Struggle and Strife, the book before,
all right,
you can get it on Amazon or whatever. And,
he's a pretty grumpy guy by nature too. I mean,
but you're a comedian, right?
He is. That's his humor, is being angry.
Are you the guy I was watching your channel this morning? Are you the guy that was talking about women being lesbians? Was that you?
No, I don't think so.
It was on your page, Matt. I was really looking at your page today.
I don't know. We have lots of those.
Okay.
You know.
Nick, by the way, I wanted to say thank you for blessing us with your accent today. I am an accent junkie. These guys know this, and I could listen to you talk for hours.
Well, I would say I haven't even got a Birmingham accent anymore because I haven't lived there for 30 years. So you should.
No, I don't have much of a Brooklyn accent either. I mean,
if we get my mom on here, you wouldn't understand a word she says.
That would be fantastic. I would love that. That would be awesome.
With captions. With captions.
I love accents all the way around.
Thanks.
Well, the drummer the other night didn't. He loved accents, but he put them all in the wrong places. So.
It was nice meeting you, Nick. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cheers. Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, I want to comment on what you were talking about. This comparing times to past times, and you know, political climates and all that. Peter Thiel, I don't know if you know who Peter Thiel is, but he's a billionaire who is very influential in right-wing politics in this country. Okay. He was making the case that America right now is like 1920s Weimar Germany, and saying that basically the left has gone out of control and things are so bad that we need a dictatorship. He was making the case for a new Hitler.
Okay, right. Yeah.
And like, first of all, I think if you start with that perception, you're starting from a bad place anyway. Germany in the 20s was a defeated country that had just lost a war, and it was while America and Britain were having the Roaring 20s. They were going through a massive depression and beat up, and so it's not comparable in any way to that. But
also you have to look at the other history, because in the Roaring 20s, it was only for the ruling classes. The Roaring 20s in Birmingham were people still working in mines and metal factories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those people. I took my son to a museum called the Black Country Museum. And you could see how people lived. My mom used to live in a house where they had shared an outside toilet with 8 people. That was in the 1950s.
Right.
So people were still living. So the 1920s for normal working class people in America and the UK was shit. It wasn't good. I think
unless you were in the mafia or had some connection to the mafia.
Steinbeck wrote a lot about this, didn't he? He wrote one. He wrote something called The Battle, I think. And it was about the fruit pickers and the guys who were in the underground union because they were getting arrested. I think it's called The Battle by John Steinbeck, a great book. And that's all about the 20s, how people were living. So, the Roaring 20s was great. It's like the swinging 60s was great for some people, but for normal people, their lives were crap,
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's important. I wrote an essay recently about proud to be working class. People say, "Oh, Nick, why are you always going on about classes?" Like, well, it's part of my culture. It's like it's my football team who come from a factory in the 1860s, where I live, and what my grandfather did, the trade unions. That's my history. You went to university. You talk about university, but I'm not allowed to talk about my past. And I think. Well, what in the UK, like the history of working class people, like the miners' strike in 1984, was a big, huge thing. But do they teach it in schools? I doubt it. We're still teaching about the fucking kings and queens. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Who gives a shit about Henry VIII and his 6 wives? Who gives a shit about King Charles? So
really. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Well, I think we should keep English traditions. We did behead the first King Charles of England.
You could say that, but because you're not living in the UK.
No, I said that in England. I said that in England before he was even king.
Wow.
So, I would love to see it live on Sky TV. The beheading of King Charles III. It would be fantastic.
Just a reminder of the disclaimer before the program. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect those of Stephen, the sitcom Ortiz.
Well, then another thing as well. If you voted to, I think now if you ask people if they vote to keep a royal family or not, it would be really close. Because the Queen, people liked her, but she's gone. But people don't really like Charles, and they kind of like, who are these other guys? Why are we paying for them? So I think we could actually have a vote to become a republic, which would
he's not a likable guy, Charles, in any way. He's just he doesn't have any personality at all.
Well, also the thing with Diana as well. The conspiracy theories about most people believe that the royal family had her killed.
Yeah,
and
I think most people in this country believe it too.
The royal family had her killed. They were worried she was going to expose everything, the elites and the pedophiles. Exactly. Love America.
Alex Jones on the program this morning, ladies and gentlemen. He just pops in every once in a while without even getting called in.
Mind of his own.
Yeah. Once again, the Leaving Traces is the name of the latest connection from Nick. You can get it. The link is in the description down there. It's going across the bottom. Click on that. Find out more about Nick and his works, all his work, and order the books, and maybe put a smile on your face or make you more optimistic. Nick, thank you for being part of the program this morning.
Okay, pleasure. Great, guys. Great to chat to you. Right.
Come back sometime again, man. We appreciate it.
Love to.
Okay. Right. Have a great day.
Keep up the good work. Cheers, mate.
Nick Garrard, folks.
He said, cheers, mate. Isn't that awesome?
You love that.
I do so much.
So,
I hate my voice so much. The accents are so cool.
Can you do accents? Because during the podathon, 40 hours in, Carl had a bunch of English dudes on, and I was talking about how difficult. But I hadn't slept in 30 hours now, and they asked me to do an English accent, and basically I tried my best. But
if I was around it enough, if I was around it for a couple hours straight, maybe. But no, I can do a Southern accent, and that's about it. And that's about as far as it goes. Yeah.
Before we get to the news, and I'm sure this is not in showbiz, so I can talk about it. Antonio, whatever, Everodi or something like that, the pole vaulter, who failed at getting the medal because of his huge cock. Did you hear the announcer struggling to try to say what might have caused the bar to fall? It might have been an appendage. And on the way down, he didn't secure that huge fucking horse cock that he has. And on the way down, you could see it flopping up and down in his pants, like it was. You put on tighty whities or something to hold that thing down. But
as an announcer, I would have just said, "Oh, looks like he got hung up on the bar." That's all I would have said. That would have said everything.
Might have been an appendage or something. But the thing is, I think he's better off not winning the gold. There's nothing more monetizable than saying I didn't win the gold because of my huge horse cock.
Yeah,
that
for
guy,
sure.
Darn, what a problem to have.
Yeah. He's going to be a movie star. He's got it made. I don't know if it's the right kind of movies, but
we finally have our male Haktua.
He needs to learn to
Tua
secure
and horse
that.
cock
Like,
all together.
Tie it up or something. Get a holster. Get a cock holster for that or something.
Hey, that would be a great morning show. Hey, this is Horse Cock and Haktua in the morning.
What a 1.3 the Jizz.
Now, is this in the showbiz of Haktua doing Bill Maher's show?
No, I did see a little bit of that, but
he was getting creepy. He was getting creepy with it, like old man, young girl. Talking,
I don't know. Here's the thing. I think she half expects this going into it now, and I think she uses it for clips and makes money on it, man, because there's no way she went into that thinking this was not going to be that situation.
Yeah,
no way.
What's he supposed to say to her? Tell us your views on Israeli politics.
No, but I think he was. I think he was this far away from saying, "Could you spit on my cock right now?" I think he was. I mean, yeah, no, you have to talk about those things, but I don't know. You don't have to ask her to suck your cock there live on the podcast. He didn't, but I think he came close. Anyway, let's get through news really quick. I'll end up bombing this newscast, and then.
The judge overseeing former President Donald Trump's federal election interference case has scheduled a hearing for August 16th at 10 a.m. Trump is not required to attend.
This will be the first appearance in Judge Tanya Chutkan's courtroom in 7 months. Chutkan also denied Trump's motion to dismiss the case on statutory grounds. She indicated that they may refile the motion once issues of presidential immunity are addressed. The case has been paused as Trump's legal team appealed presidential immunity. Paul Gomez reported.
Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, will face sentencing for his 3-count felony conviction on November 13th, just a week after the presidential election.
Biden was found guilty in June by a Delaware jury of breaking the law when he acquired a firearm in 2018 during his struggle with drug addiction. For the 3 felony convictions, Hunter Biden could face up to 25 years in prison, though legal experts believe he will avoid jail time as a first-time and nonviolent offender. Jim Kender reported.
Hawaii Governor Josh Green announced a historic $4.037 billion settlement to resolve claims from the devastating August 8th, 2023 Maui wildfires.
The settlement comes just before the 1-year anniversary of the tragedy. The 7 defendants, State of Hawaii, County of Maui, Hawaiian Electric, Kamahamaha Schools, West Maui Land Company, Hawaiian Telcom, and Spectrum Charter Communications, undertook significant efforts to find a resolution that addresses the needs and ensures the well-being of plaintiffs. Kevin Sanders reporting.
In a stunning development, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has revoked the controversial plea deal for alleged 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and 2 accomplices announced on Wednesday, stating he was taking control of the military tribunal at.
So Ron is happy with that because Ron is a total death penalty guy, and no more. Listen, he's pro death penalty for like Americans to commit murder. He's definitely going to be pro death penalty for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and those people. He just can't wait to see. But he's conflicted on whether he wants to see him electrocuted or stand with a firing squad.
Honestly, did we just put him in a plane and just drop the plane off of a helicopter?
All right, drop the plane off a helicopter.
Just yeah.
That's weird. That's just a weird statement. I don't even know what to make of that. Drop a plane off a helicopter. It
Just so
sounds
his
like you're.
final moments are as terrifying as 9/11.
I don't think that would be anywhere near as terrifying.
Probably not, but I mean,
I think that guy should probably get a show on the Fox News network.
We don't want to torture him again. We just want to kill him. It's different.
Now, Hurricane Debbie has hit Florida, which is, Hurricane Debbie. I thought she stopped blowing in high school, as I remember correctly. Maybe it's a different Hurricane Debbie I'm thinking of. But
I always thought Debbie did Dallas, but I guess it's Florida.
This Maui thing with the wildfires, I'm unclear. Like, how? Because that's a natural disaster, right? Or what? Because the state is on the hook for that. Now we can sue the state government if you have wildfires. I don't $4.something billion or whatever. Do you guys know that story or you follow it or know what because I'm confused by it. How do you sue the government because we had wildfires?
I mean, unless something man-made caused the fire to begin with, or I don't see how that could happen.
That wouldn't be the state's fault.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with that electric company that was supplying electric to the island and shit like that.
Well, I have to look deeper into this, but I would want to cash in on that. I mean, but then that sets a bad precedent if everybody can start cashing in on natural disasters. Americans, if we find a way to cash in, we love a way to cash in, and we'll abuse it. And I don't know that this is an abuse already. I don't know. I don't know anything about the story. Could be, could not be. Just putting that out there. Yeah. Do you know this Connor Kellicott guy, Ron?
Yeah, he's from Baltimore. I met him in person for the first time, probably like about a month or 2 months ago when I was working at the Church of Satire.
You are his top friend on Facebook. I don't know if you know that. You're number one top friend.
Okay. Whatever that means. But
usually that's the person you interact with most. They put that person up in the corner there for people. Do you talk to him on Facebook?
No.
Or maybe he doesn't talk to anybody. The voiceless DB Cooper is in the chat room, and he says, "Yes, Ron, that's right. Whatever he's saying, is it whatever he's right about? Are you saying about the electric company in Hawaii, or are you talking about Connor Kellicott, or are you talking about whatever else we were talking about?" I don't know. Yes, that's right. You're right, Ron. How does that make you feel?
It feels pretty good.
All right.
To be right about whatever.
Yeah. It's always good to be right. Like, it's good to be wrong. Good to be right. I started doing some reels, speaking of DB Cooper, GD Fenderson, DB Cooper, they're all the same, about DB Cooper. And because there's a thing on Netflix where a guy is claiming he is DB Cooper. I couldn't get through it. I kept falling asleep. I got to go back and watch it again. But it's still officially an unsolved case. Steven's like, what the fuck is DB Cooper? I don't know. You're talking dinosaurs?
I know the case of DB Cooper very well, man. I know that case fairly well.
Are you familiar with the Netflix thing that the guy is claiming to be DB Cooper?
It's not the first documentary I've heard of where somebody's claiming to be DB Cooper, but I can't guarantee I've seen this one. I'd have to see the cover art or something to tell you for sure.
Yeah,
but I've seen a lot of them.
I fall asleep very much in the beginning, so I never even got to the point where the guy is saying that he's DB Cooper. But that's confessing to a crime that is not subject to statute of limitations. Hijacking is basically, it's like murder. It's not subject to that. So it's like confessing to a crime. You would think if it was real, he would have been arrested by now. Anyway, that's an unsolved crime, and so I'm doing all these true crime because people love true crime. So I might start trying to get more. Trying to try try to get more true crime authors on and talk about some of these open cases, because I find that fascinating. But I know there's a big audience for that stuff. And the other one that I was looking at was the John Benet Ramsey thing, which is like almost 30 years old now. 2 more years, it'll be 30 years old. And they're claiming that, basically all the evidence says it wasn't the Ramsey family now. It was an outside intruder, and that's an unsolved case. And there are things that we were never told about in the Boulder, Colorado area, where there were like copycat crimes going on, or same exact MO and all that stuff that weren't part of that investigation. So, true crime stuff has got me a little
Katy Perry is John Benet Ramsey, and I can prove it mathematically.
Who did it?
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry is John Benet Ramsey mathematically, because she has the same color eyes, right? But different color hair.
Same colored eyes, same shaped face, and they both suck at music. You can tell that they're exactly the same person.
I wonder if Katy Perry's parents are still alive and can, or any family to say no. She's from a.
You mean
I never heard
her
any
parents
resolution.
still here on this planet? Sorry,
Yeah.
Go on.
DB Cooper says he was talking about the electric company. Children's TV Workshop is off the hook. Also, Ron has bumped me as Church of Satire's #1 fan. Wow. On Facebook. Do you do any shows at Church of Satire, Ron?
I've hosted. I've done feature work there. But
Connor Kellicott is late, by the way. And after I think Steven saw, he responded, "Great, I'm looking forward to it." Yesterday.
Did.
So CCing you on this has not helped with these no shows either. It's done nothing.
You got to give it time to. You got to give it time to saute.
Why don't you try writing to this guy and say, "Where the fuck are you, Kellicott, Ron's best friend?"
Right now.
Well, Ron, why don't you call him up? You got him on speed dial, don't you?
No.
So, guy's been doing stand-up 30 years, and he's writing a book about. Seems like a lot of people are writing books about how to do comedy right now. Ken.
Wait, what was his name again?
Connor Kellicott.
I was not CC'd on that one.
You
the
were.
only few I got was for
Yes, you
Patrick
were.
and Janine.
No,
Patrick
that's
and
tomorrow.
Janine.
That's tomorrow. You were CC'd on all of them. Check your spam, check your junk mail, whatever. You were CC'd on all of them. 10 different emails went out yesterday. You were CC'd on all of them. See, now you're fired. You're so fired.
I told you this was why I was scared to do it through this email. All right, let's see.
Don't make me do this. I got to do homework now. And the overwhelming audience out there just loves seeing me do my homework in class. Anyway, no.
Yeah, a bunch of them went to spam, but I can fix that now. So.
All right. Well, call, get in touch with Connor Kellicott and tell him, "Where are you, dude?" You said, "Great, thanks." All right. You know what? I'll see if I can do it. Connor.
I'm already replying. I'm emailing him now.
All right, you're on there now. Get him over here. So yeah. So did we want to do showbiz now while we're waiting, and just in case? I don't know. You want to go there?
Yeah, I got.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I have it all loaded up. So
I got to get my glasses ready. I can't do show business without my glasses. I know you're protesting the glasses requirement. I have not reached back to iBoss. Is that iBoss? Eyewear? Anyway, let's get with the program here, Napo. You're watching Nepotism in effect right now. Showbiz.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana. Here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane.
Entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showbiz.
Showbiz.
Showbiz,
Oh, I
everybody.
didn't know you were going to talk about the cock boy.
Well, not really. I just wanted to. I figured I'd put a picture to start out showbiz. So we we don't really need to talk about it, but we have to see it. So I figure it's a good way to
Right.
start.
The
So
flippity flopping cock from France. He's from Paris, France, right? He's a hometown boy.
yeah, so it was a long, hard weekend for everybody.
No, it wasn't hard. This is the thing. That dick, as long as it was flopping in the wind like a soft, like that. That's how big he is. Soft. Imagine how he is hard.
Yeah,
Do we
I mean,
have
I've
to?
seen it. You never know, though. I mean, running like that in those tight pants and just being around, if he's got a cock that big, he's like, I got to get this monster out.
Looks like he could get to the beach with those legs, though. Look how white his legs are. He should really get some suntan on those
I
fucking
mean,
things.
yeah, but who's looking at his legs anyway? At least not
I
from the movie.
know. This is the first time because they're right in front of my face. I mean, I was fixated on his
If I
cock,
would have
and
ran
I'm not.
into him in the crowd in my wheelchair, I would have been doing some pole vaulting myself.
Yeah, I bet you would have been pitching a tent.
So
And this is Johnny Depp lookalike.
Yep. Yeah, this is Pedro Pascal. The Last of Us season 2 teaser trailer has dropped. So if you're interested in that show, I mean, the show is not bad considering other video game adaptations, but Fallout definitely surpassed this show. And I don't know. I watched the first season. It wasn't bad, but once again, I mean, it was just the game essentially in in movie form, I guess, or show form,
Man,
live action.
TV and movies have become all about shadows now. They love shadow. It used to be lighting was like everything had to be lit properly and all that stuff. Now it's all about shadow, showing the shadow, the dark side. Everything's got a light side and a dark side, but then nothing illustrates that more. In this picture, half his face is in light. It's kind of you never used to see that in the old days. Everything would be well lit up. I don't
Well,
know. Is it?
I think now you see it more because lighting has gotten better and cameras have gotten so much better. So now you can
Yeah.
film scenes with low lighting and they're not quite as bad, I guess. So it's the same thing too that's happened with audio, because the big complaint that you always hear is that people have to watch shows and movies with subtitles now because the audio is so low. And that's
Right.
because the mics have gotten so good, the actors no longer really need to project.
Right.
They can just do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what kills me too is not only is the audio for the speaking so quiet, but you have the TV up so high that when anything besides speaking happens, you either blow your speakers or you wake everybody in the house up.
But sometimes they make the music so loud over the dialogue. It's like, who's mixing this shit, man?
And then the commercials come on. If you have ads, for example, then the ads are going to kill you because those are up all the way. That's just all horrible.
Welcome to the complaint department, ladies and gentlemen. It was complaints with the dog.
Actually, I think like on Peacock, on that service, that's actually when commercials come on the Peacock, the audio actually drops for the commercials, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching SummerSlam yesterday, and that was really nice because those ads are tough, man.
Yeah, and I know, like, I don't know. I remember reading shit like a year or two ago saying that like there was a demand that all services do that when commercials come on, that the audio actually drops out because of what you're talking about, Steven, where everyone has their fucking TV up so loud because you want to hear it. Then that commercial comes on, it's like,
yeah, they purposely and radio. We always mix the commercials up louder, more compression, and the commercials were much louder just because we want to make sure people got annoyed by them.
yeah, and it makes you turn the radio. It's like, screw this.
Punky.
Yep. So this is made the rounds this weekend. Punky Johnson is leaving SNL after 4 years. She has said that it was amicable and there's no bad blood or no bridges burnt. She just felt it was time to go. So if you're a fan of Punky, she was no longer on the show, and SNL is this season will be their 50th season on air. So it's going to be a big party year for them.
Oh yeah, it was 75, right? So next season, I mean, like, because I believe it started in January of 75.
Yeah,
Not
so
September of 74. Yeah.
Yeah, so this coming season is the 50th season. This is also supposed to be the last season that Lorne Michaels will be running the show, because he has said
Thank
that
God.
he has said that he doesn't want to do it anymore, but he wanted to see the show hit 50 since he's been doing it for so long. And there were rumors that Keenan Ivory Waynes was going to replace him, but I think the strong money at this point seems to be on Tina Fey taking over that show once he leaves.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, that seems to be the heir apparent for Lauren, that it will be Tina Fey, which
now it's not
sense.
not Lorne's 50th year, you know that.
No, but he wanted to see the show hit 50 seasons.
Yeah. Jean Dumangian was the first replacement. She only lasted a year and a half. She was responsible for Charles Rocket dropping the F-bomb and Stephen choking on cock. But she was a weird one. If you read the book, like her power trips and some of the weird kinky shit she was into behind the scenes, it was really. And then Dick Ebersol kind of saved the show and brought it back from the Jean Dumangian disaster of what she created. So I think this is probably about 47 years or 46 years for Lorne in all. But
yeah, loser, you ain't making it to 50.
Well, he was great when it started, and you know what? Anybody who has a career as long, because that wasn't his first endeavor. Obviously, he was on the Smothers Brothers television writer for that with Steve Martin. He had a career before that. So, but everybody gets old, man. You're doing it for 50 years.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
most time to sit down. Time to go away. So good for him.
Yeah, so like I said, the early money is on Tina Fey taking over that show.
Any guess on how she will do?
I think she'll be great at it, actually. I think she'll be great at it because Tina is, she's probably first and foremost a comedy writer. So it's in her wheelhouse. And she's got the experience. People seem to like her. And I think she could definitely take the show in a different direction.
Yeah.
I agree. I was just trying to think of another name that would come to mind when thinking of a replacement, but I mean, I can think of anyone else that's stuck it out that long.
Voiceless DB Cooper wants to talk about things we were talking about 5 minutes ago without his voice. Must be very difficult and frustrating. Ha ha ha. Oh. Yeah. Jeff Dunham's puppet.
Yeah. So this weekend, the Joe Rogan comedy special appeared on Netflix. It was live on Friday night. I did not watch it. Did anyone here watch it live?
No, oh no, of course not. I was out getting rained on.
About like 15 minutes of it, and I was like,
but I wouldn't have watched it anyway. But I have to say there are some of the, what I want to say, jokes have been published in reels and on Netflix by people who are just tearing him a new asshole if they can find it that small. Listen, Joe Rogan is a midget, man. Can I say midget?
I mean, probably not, but here, so I put it on. I made it to the part where he goes, listen, I was the biggest vaccine guy, but after COVID, I don't even think we went to the moon. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm going to just do dishes and not listen to anything now because I feel dumber. And just turn this off. That's about where I left off. Yeah.
Now, people are defending that comment, saying, jokes are jokes, man, leave up. But Because I don't know. I don't watch it, and I don't know the tone of it. Do you think he's back to being a moon landing denier? Because he was a moon landing denier, then he converted to accepting the fact that we did go to the moon. Do you think he's back on the moon landing denier page?
I wouldn't be shocked, honestly. I don't think because every time he talks about it, he always starts off real strong with, I don't know, man, the evidence is pretty strong that we've been there. But then by the end of the conversation, he's always at you. But if you look at the lines and the photographs, they don't line up and the shadows are different. I'm just like, see, what's happening?
Yeah, well, this is a guy who believes in conspiracy theories based on a watch not telling the right time, as if that is like a watch has never been wrong in the history of mankind, in the history of watchmaking. There's never been a watch that could tell the wrong time, so it must be a conspiracy.
Also, does the president's watch? Do we know if he keeps it on Washington time or does he keep it on Universal time?
That's yeah. When people are traveling often, they don't always have the the standard time. They change it. So who knows? But
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I checked it out a little bit yesterday. I was doing some things and I put it on the background because I wanted to hear, and kind of like what Steven said. It just felt like he's just doubling down on that right wing comedy niche, and it's really not that funny. I mean, there was some aspects. Yeah, I mean, there was jokes here and there, but for me personally, I wasn't really impressed. It was just, It just felt like a lot of yelling about, whatever. And even the stuff he's talking about seems very dated already. And it's not even that many years ago. And
what felt like he was doing was he was making jokes off of like his most popular episodes of his podcast, because he was hitting on these topics, right? And making jokes out of them, but they were all topics of like his best episodes. You know what I'm saying? So everything from like moon landing and COVID conspiracies to Trump being assassinated, everything he's talking about, and it's all super right wingy. Like it was like strong. Like
the Twitter, pretty much the consensus of people who hate him is that or he was just yelling about things that stupid people were yelling about 4 or 5 years ago. His special was just consisted of him yelling about things that stupid people were yelling about 4 or 5 years ago. That was what I read over and over again yesterday. So I don't know. I wouldn't give it. See, I hate to give it any attention, because if you watch something, they count that as like positive reinforcement. I mean, they're going to put it out. Well, this many people watch it. Yeah, some people watch it just to fucking hate it, and I don't think that's. If you're in the business, you don't care. All you care about is the numbers. But for him, it's like an ego thing that he could. Yeah. But for a guy who claims that he's constantly writing, he writes comedy every night, to be doing dated material and doing it terribly like he does everything else, I think that's an indictment of, if you're writing that stuff every night and this is the best you could do is vaccine stuff, come on, man. It's 2024. That's not last night's comedy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had it on probably for about 40 minutes or so, and there was, after I stopped it, because it was just boring, I thought, and by the time I stopped it, there's still like almost 30 minutes left, and like, how could anyone get through this?
Wow. Here's breaking news. Ian has a girlfriend who's never mentioned before on this program. I thought he was just making glass pipes 24 hours a day. Guy seems to be a creative guy who's just doing glass pipes forever. I didn't know he had ever had time for a girlfriend. But
yeah, especially putting this up against Sam Morril's new special, which I did put on again this weekend. It is literally night and day. I mean, Sam's special is so fucking good. The jokes are so solid, and it's just like one after the other. And this just seemed like an old man complaining. Like, I don't understand things. I'm gonna yell.
I've been watching a lot of Sam lately on his reels and stuff, and some of the stuff he was working out, some of these bits on that are in the new special. But what strikes me, he is so quick on his feet. He's not necessarily doing crowd work. When hecklers yell stuff, he is so good at those comebacks. I don't think I've ever seen anybody as naturally funny dealing with people who are hecklers, and it doesn't seem like he's kind of planned that. It seems like it just comes in the moment to him, which is really impressive. I mean, the last guy I've seen that was as sharp and quick as that, and this makes me sound like a fucking ancient dinosaur that I am, but Johnny Carson. I mean, really that quick. Like, I mean, in the reactionary moment to stuff. Yeah, I think that's a lost art because even Matt Rife with all his crowd work is a lot of that is planned, recycled stuff that he's done over and over again. Go ahead, it really is.
It really is. The last time I was heckled, I wasn't even on stage. I wasn't even on stage, but I destroyed the guy so bad that he left the club immediately. Stage to try to make fun of him. He was already gone.
Not even on stage. I was pumping gas and I was getting heckled.
No, dude, I was in the. It was an open mic, and the dude apparently had been banned a couple times, but the club's under new ownership. So he comes in and he gets on stage and just instead of even making jokes, just decides to just strictly make fun of me in the wheelchair to the point where people are booing at him. And then he finally talks to me directly, and I just destroyed him. Went in, death blow.
So
anyway,
we're jacking off to Jackman. Jacking off with Jackman.
Yeah. Well, I want to say one thing. I'm not sure. Matt Rife has a special coming to Netflix soon, and it's an all crowd work special. So here we go. And I
rehearsed crowd work.
Yeah, but I haven't seen any. What I fear about that becoming really popular is that people showing up to open mics that try and do crowd work, comic after comic. And open mics are the worst place to do fucking crowd work.
Right, you're doing it for comedians mostly, right? And they're going to be better than you. You don't want that when if you're giving the audience a chance to be funnier than you. That's not productive to your career at all.
Yeah, so be on the lookout, I guess, for that. But yeah, this is I know everyone was worried if Disney was going to make any more money, but luckily they made like almost another $100 million off this movie this weekend. So the money machine keeps churning, and Disney is suffering. Disney is suffering between this movie and Inside Out too. How will they survive?
Poor Disney.
This movie was awesome. It was so much action, so much just superheroes. It was awesome. Great. I loved it.
I feel bad for
not even shy about it.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I think after if I watch it at like a year or a year and a half from now, I think it'll still be all right. But I don't know. I don't know if it's got staying power. Because like the original Deadpool and stuff was good for the time, but I haven't really gone back to watch that probably for a good 2-3 years now, and I'm okay with that.
Honestly, I watch those Deadpool movies once every couple months.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, it's to each their own though, because it just depends on where you're at with the superhero movie. Because some people that are huge superhero fans are just tired of the movies too. So.
Oh yeah,
so it's really just depends on where you're at on the spectrum.
Yeah, I think I might be already tired of the X-Men already, and it's not even out or anything like that.
Here's the thing with X-Men, Marvel's gonna have to do something drastically different with it because Fox just beat that horse into the ground. They made a mess of it. It was horrible. Very little of it had any staying power. Very little of it is rewatchable. Hugh Jackman's the only gem from that era that we got, and he's only going to be around for so long. The dude's not young, so.
I'm having allergy moments. There
unless
is
they
a comment.
scan them and put them in future movies.
Comments we don't see on Instagram. By the way, if you're watching on Instagram, Rumble, or any of that stuff, we're not going to see your comments. I have to actually go to the site to see them. This is one in real time. Sir, I really tell you, I have 50 dogs, R-O-D dogs. I can't look a thing along. I need someone can help me, please. Right. Want me to read it again? Sir, I really tell you.
No, I had to smoke.
I really tell you, not tell you. I really tell you, I have 50 dogs. I can't look a thing along. I need someone can help me, please. Have someone can kindly man. This is the next comment he just wrote. Have someone can kindly man.
It sounds like he's just on the wrong site. You probably want to check out Pornhub or something like that, or Man on Man.
Something. Rod dogs. I have 50 dogs.
Just go to free2g1c.com and you will have all of the answers you seek.
I think that we have a pole vaulter who might be able to help you with your rod dog problem.
Speaking of rod dogs, Zac Efron is happy and healthy after a swimming incident. Apparently, he was found floating in his pool a couple of days ago, like face down, and the help found him and pulled him out. But apparently, he's good. They haven't said what the incident was.
Drugs are involved, right? Drugs.
It could be drugs, or it could be alcohol, or maybe just something happened. Who knows? It's his personal business. But if you're wondering, Zac Efron is still alive and well, and you can still look up his amazing body online if you want to look at it.
Oh, he has an amazing body of work. You mean? No, he has an amazing body.
He's pretty chiseled. He's pretty hot.
He doesn't look it with the jacket on, obviously, but he just doesn't look like a guy who would be like amazing, have an amazing body under that thing.
Oh, he does.
So we've become gay centric on this, or homoerotic is what we've become on this program. We look at guys. We look at guys for their bodies now. I did not know.
Hey,
I'm not saying I'm gay, but I like big, veiny, throbby cocks in my porn. Okay. So
yeah, you can be comfortable in your own sexuality and say that another man is good looking. Why?
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. You can say he's good looking, he's handsome, whatever. Built like a brick shit house, whatever you want to say. But when we focus on his hot body, I'm starting to feel like that's getting a little. I don't know.
Well, when you say it like that,
yeah.
I don't remember either of us saying he had a hot body. We were just like,
I think if I play back the tape, Ron said you could still see his hot body.
Are you about to have a real life RFK moment? Let's roll the tapes.
I'm taking my sunglasses off because obviously this is the final screen. We've reached the final screen of showbiz, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so here we go, playing for bears and otters.
Yeah. I could not tell that was an otter, by the way. It just
yeah, that was tough to tell.
No, it was because I was listen. I talked about how weird my gig was the other night, but I was for a brief moment inspired when all these young, beautiful women started coming, and they were all dressed up, dressed to the nines, and they table full, just like that. But then we sucked so bad that they had to leave. So, but I like.
I like how Matt says we're gay centric now. You're like, nah, not at all, man. Not even a little bit, bro.
This isn't homoerotic.
Yeah, well, GD said he could barely talk today, so he's going to need a lot of popsicles in his mouth all day.
Yeah. 5 out of 6 doctors who deal with homoerotic patients recommend popsicles for a sore throat.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. All right, that's showbiz. Are we
That
done
is
with showbiz?
showbiz.
All right. Bears and otters. Now, maybe RFK is into otters too. Who knows? Katie McBride is on Twitter. She's got a picture of Roseanne listening to RFK tell the story, and she looks totally freaked out. She said the funniest part of the RFK Jr. video is how deeply weirded out Roseanne looks. Do you know how much pure uncut batshittery you have to spout for Roseanne to look like this? Because she's known for saying some pretty batshitty stuff. For her to say, "Wow, that's fucked up," you got to go pretty far to make Roseanne do that. And again, I'm looking to see if the story has been the actual real story, because his cover story obviously is going to be softer than the real story. When that real story hits the news today, I think we're all going to be, wow, he really is a fucked up dude, man. But that was 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, people were saying, well, we all got to pass. 10 years ago is not. He was like almost 60 years old. I mean, you're pretty much established in who you are by the time you're 60, more late 50s. There's no youthful excuse in this fucking thing for him at all. It'd be interesting to see when the story comes out. I guess Connor Killicut's not going to make it here after saying, great, thanks. Well, excited to pump his book.
I'm going to email the next person tomorrow or tonight, and then I'm going to email him again in the morning.
I promise you, Patrick Greenwood will be here. He's been with me before. He's already got in touch with me 7 different times about Or is that what? No, that's the 7th. He's Wednesday. He's Wednesday, right? Patrick Greenwood.
But you've said that before about somebody, and they still didn't know. They still did a no-show. So.
Oh yeah, tomorrow we have Renita Mora, who is the historical fiction author who was with us just 7-8 weeks ago, and then she screwed up the day 2 weeks ago when she was supposed to be here. So hopefully she'll show up. Probably DB Cooper will be back with us tomorrow, voice or no voice. I would think he probably misses us. Don't you think he misses us a little bit?
Well, as long as he stays away from the doghouse tomorrow night, I'm good.
Yeah, with his diseasey little. I don't think he's allowed out of the house with his little diseasey. He's calling it the Seattle flu, which is a racehorse. Oh no, that was Seattle Slew. He's got the Seattle flu that he got on a boat. Now, whoever brought that on the boat, fuck them. You know what? When I got COVID, it was the first time I got COVID. It was in a club. It was Easter, whatever that spring break, college kids all in the room, and somebody knew they were sick and goes out and shares it with a group full of people. You get on a fucking boat bringing that stuff. I'm not pro death penalty like Ron is, but I would say that person should be put in front of a fire squad. How dare you bring your fucking bugs? Put a fucking. What would you like for a last meal? Have a cigarette and shoot the fucker. What is he saying? No doghouse, no diggity. What is no diggity? What does that mean? No diggity. Hot diggity dogs. Hot. Are you looking for rod dogs? 50 rod dogs. Let's see if this guy's. No, he's not. That was the last. Can someone kindly man? Can someone kindly man? Have someone kindly man. That's what he says. All right, that's the wall. We've hit it already. We're getting earlier to the wall. I should say goodbye to Govs. Before I say goodbye to Govs, if you are interested in hosting a podcast at Govs, and if you have any tech savvy or advertiser savvy or even Hawktua savvy, get in touch with Tony at Tony at knockemdeadcomedy.com. Tony at knockemdeadcomedy.com, and tell him, I want a podcast from the comedy club. I want to talk to comedians like I do, and listen, they're not the cool people you think they are. You're better off talking to musicians, authors, I don't know, politicians, whatever. You're better talking to anybody but comedians. They're all a bunch of dead fucking. Look at what we got here. Look at these two. They're fucking falling asleep. They got nothing to contribute. Steven is just like fucking laughing at himself,
Listen.
playing with what? Go ahead. Now you're on the spotlight. You got nothing to say. Spotlight's on you.
To turn black, and now she wants to be known as Black.
Oh,
what? We need captions on the sound
Black,
effect.
and now she wants to be known as Black.
She wants to be known as Black.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, since we're out of gas and the car has hit a wall and run out of gas, I guess we go back to the old. Now Trump put out
have been
that
the best president for the black population.
For the black population, he put out that he has accepted, not that. He accepted an invitation to debate Kamala on Fox in a Pennsylvania arena with Brett Baer and Martha McCallum doing the moderating on September 4th. Now, he negating doing the September 10th thing that was already scheduled on ABC, claiming he's in litigation with ABC and that would be a conflict of interest and blah, blah, blah. And I think me and one other pundit might have been the only ones who said this. She should accept that invitation. She should, even though, listen, I don't think the moderators make a fucking difference. Brett Baer has asked Trump some very tough questions. Out of all the people on Fox, he's asked them some really stuff though, and called them on the 2020 election stuff. But also realizing that Fox has already had to pay out $718 million in lawsuits for putting out false information about the 2020 election stuff. The minute Trump goes there, I think they're bound by their own lawyers and their own owner to say, hey, wait a minute, fact check that. We'll call it on the spot, which would humiliate him in front of his people. Now, the audience, I think that has to be controlled. They have to have it half and half. But I think her half, if they had it like half Republican, half Democrats in the audience, I think her half would be far more energetic and enthusiastic than a Biden crowd would be. Oh, and I think it's fair. I think she would win that. I think she would. First of all, just accepting it would throw him off his fucking game, because when a bully calls you out and you say, okay, let's go, they automatically start to look for excuses to back out. Like this is bully tactic. So if she just accepted it, he would probably find a reason to not do it anyway. So you guys have any thoughts on that? Do you think she should accept, or you think she should? Because I think
if she wants to prove that she is the one to do it, she needs to get on stage with him, because one, her crowd, like we already said, like you just said, is going to be more energetic. She's going to bring in a younger crowd. She's obviously going to bring in the black voters and the black crowd. They're all going to be amped to be supporting Kamala Harris, okay? It's going to have very similar to those Obama-Clinton vibes, right? It's going to be real energetic. Trump's crowd is going to be that same tired MAGA crowd that's hearing the same regurgitated bullshit over and over and over again. She's going to wipe the floor with them. It's going to be like watching Trump. It's going to be like watching 2016 Trump with current Biden is what it's going to be like. She's going to just walk all over him. No matter who's hosting it.
Yeah, I think the audience is probably a bad idea anyway, but because I think it could get there could be riots. Because if it's a huge crowd in an arena, I don't see how you can keep that secure. I
think it'll happen. It won't be in an arena though, because especially with all the scrutiny over the Secret Service and protection, that's going to be a closed environment. As much as it should be an arena, there's no way they're going to let him, and especially they're not going to allow her to be in a big arena like that for something. Right. Especially what happened in Butler. They're going to be like, yeah, we're not going to take that risk of anything else fucking up this year.
Yeah. Do you agree with me that the moderators really don't make a difference, as long as they don't as long as they just are asking questions and letting them answer, and if it comes to anything like that could get Fox in trouble for another lawsuit. They would have to, but I don't think the moderators make much of a difference. And I think Brett Baer has been pretty straight. He's been one of the hardest guys on Trump as far as asking the real questions that you want to ask him. Now, sometimes he lets Trump just ramble on his non-answer stuff, but I think he's pretty good with that. Martha McCallum, I have not seen her enough to see whether she would like be a total ass licker or what. But
well, I mean, they can, but they got to ask questions. And if Fox still wants to be looked at as a news organization, they have to handle it like adults.
Yeah.
As much as it would be painful, I would like it if she would, because to me she does have an advantage, because then she could bring up election stuff and be like, why'd you tell us about that?
She's so good at being a prosecutor, and if people doubt her, this is what I keep saying. If you doubt her, go look at the way she had Bill Barr mumbling, stumbling, and befuddled, and not able to answer questions. Sessions, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, all these. She made them all feel like, stop beating up on me. I'm guilty.
That's exactly the thing. She has this experience of being put under pressure in a courtroom where it matters, right there at the moment, not an election that matters months down the road. She's doing something that matters right there on the spot. So you're telling me that she couldn't handle old guy Trump babbling at his gums while she's up there just destroying him the whole time? She can be asked any question on the planet and she's going to handle it, because that's her career. That's her real world job was that. So that alone is going to give her an advantage. Now you add the charisma, the age, and the fact that